going live than doing a video about it because I'm gonna tell you something. I've always been a supporter of Scottie Pippen for some reason. Well, I ain't gonna say for some reason. I always thought that Scottie Pippen was the backbone to Jordan's success. And Michael Jordan openly admitted it. Keep in mind that the Bulls had a losing record or mediocre until Scottie Pippen showed up. He was one of the difference makers. And I'm riding with Scottie Pippen on this. Now, I know some people gonna come here saying, but Scottie Pippen, Scottie Pippen was married to a white one. What do that have to do with anything? This ain't the situation where you try to bring up that particular subject. This isn't like, some of these YouTubers on here that try to talk that super militant pro black stuff. And like I said, you know who these dudes are. Because like I said, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna talk about some things in the near future, about some stuff that I've been contemplating, but I'm gonna make a final decision, after Spence Pacquiao. And then maybe discuss some things with, the people I deal with, and then, I'm gonna let you guys know. But in case you guys don't know, Scottie Pippen, to me, he didn't drop a bomb, but some people think this is a bomb. But I always saw this anyway. Now, Scottie Pippen, ever since, The Last Dance came out, Scottie Pippen, to me, had a gripe with how he was unfairly portrayed in the documentary. Now, a lot of us got on Scottie Pippen for saying, for basically saying that he didn't like how he was portrayed, but me and Ticket TV and a couple other people, Goodfellas Sports TV, should have, said that Scottie Pippen should have asked to see the final cut before he signed off on it. But I understand how you can get tricked into signing off on something. So I understand that to the fullest. How you can get tricked into signing something because sometimes what they'll do is they'll present, he might have asked for it. Sometimes they'll present you with a version and say, oh, this is the version that we're going to put out. And then after you sign, basically you sign the consent form, then basically something else comes out. So I believe Scottie Pippen about what he said about him designing that for Tony Kukoc was racially motivated. Because keep in mind, Scottie Pippen that season had been an MVP candidate, and he said he felt he earned the right to take the last shot, which that's true. And I always had them kind of vibes about Phil Jackson. So, Scottie Pippen is saying that Phil Jackson is a racist. And it wouldn't surprise me. And I wish people would not come up here and insult my intelligence by saying, but he coached a team full of black people. So what? Let me tell you what turned me, let me tell you what made me real suspicious of Phil Jackson. When he wrote that book and he went in on Kobe, I wish people would stop thinking, oh, he coaches black people. Well, you need black people to win. Pretty much in sports like basketball and football. So I mean, Tom Brady ain't nothing without his predominantly black wide receivers and his, stifling defense where the best defensive players happen to be black. So, but he get all the credit. So this doesn't surprise me what Scottie Pippen is saying. I always suspected that about Phil Jackson, but I didn't want to come out of nowhere. Yeah. I didn't want to come out of nowhere and say, "Hey, man, I think Phil Jackson is suspect." But I just needed him. I just needed somebody to give me a way in, and Scottie Pippen gave me a way in. Scottie Pippen gave me a way in because I always suspected that about Phil Jackson. That Zen stuff that he'd be talking about didn't bother me, didn't phase me. Oh, my parents were this, well, that was your parents. Just because your parents are a certain way don't mean you a certain way. Now, some people are. He have that look. He have that look that sarcastic, narcissist, condescending look. But I was on Phil Jackson when he said that stuff about Kobe. I said, I think Phil Jackson is kind of suspect. I think he's suspect. And it wouldn't surprise me. Okay? It wouldn't surprise me. We already know when Phil Jackson isn't coaching, don't he live like in Wyoming or something, or Iowa or something where it's hardly no black people? Yeah, that don't mean nothing just because somebody coach black players or they play with black players. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. I want y'all who haven't seen this video, go to the, okay, go to YouTube, you know, um, go to the search engine and type up Greg the Hammer Valentine races. And wait till you see what Greg the Hammer Valentine said about the junkyard dog. I think everybody needs to see that video. I'm talking about it was one of the most racist tirades I ever seen. And then you had people trying to defend it and say, well, Greg the Hammer Valentine and Junkyard Dog were roommates. So, have y'all heard about those black and white girls that were roommates, and the black girls were getting tormented and having their supplies messed with? Didn't you hear about what happened with that black girl a few years ago that had a white roommate, and she was doing all kind of stuff, putting urine and all that kind of stuff and premenstrual blood and her. I mean, come on, man. And she should have got charged with a hate crime. So what do that mean? I hate when people try to say, oh, and they loved it, and this is they most famous quote. Well, I dated a black woman, or I'm married to a black woman, or I have a kid. That don't mean nothing. For real. Kid Rock got a baby by a black chick, and he is a stone cold racist. So can we please stop with that BS? Okay, Montana. That's what I thought. How many black people in Montana? That's what I thought. See, I do my research. I did a little. I remember he lived in one of those type of places. Yeah, I knew it was like Wyoming or Iowa or something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People love to try to say, well, they were like, that's all. Hey, all you got to do is go to the Google. I mean, you go to the Google search engine too, or the YouTube search engine, and type up Greg the Hammer Valentine racist and see what he said about the junkyard dog, and then get back to me later on. That's all you need to see. These people come on here and make, oh, well, I don't think, I know eventually some white dude gonna come on here. I don't think Phil Jackson's racist. Well, we don't care what you think. We don't care what you think. That's what you call the because I'm white and I say so mentality. And you better not come on this stream with that BS. Any of these them white dudes or any coons come on here trying to justify and say, well, I don't think get rid of them. Clap them instantly. We not doing this right now. I believe every word Scottie Pippen said. And like I said before, I told you guys, and I did a stream with the one LBZ about this years ago. Scottie Pippen did not like Michael Jordan at all. He did, and he just season. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan were never friends. Look, a lot of people look, for years they made us believe that Michael Jordan played in that game where he have these famous shoes called the flu game. Y'all know what those shoes look like. Those, by the way, they are some good shoes. The Jordan flu game, which, by the way, Michael Jordan didn't have the flu. Michael Jordan had food poisoning. But for many years, they made us believe that Michael Jordan Michael Jordan had the flu when he really had food poisoning because they did something to his pizza. You know, they probably put like a drop of bleach or something on it or something. Something they did something to it to where they made him sick. But that's what I'm saying. And I think Scottie Pippen was irritated. Michael Jordan had that game, and Michael Jordan had to be carried off the court like he James Brown. When James Brown did that performance where they put that cape on him, and Scottie Pippen was carrying him off. So I've been saying this. I've been saying this. I've been suspicious of of Phil Jackson. Just like I've been warning people, just like I warned people about Bill Maher. And I got a Bill Maher video coming out soon too, because now Bill Maher is starting to show exactly who he is now. Which I told people that Bill Maher wasn't our ally. He was always a condescending prick, and he's starting to show it. Oh yeah, I remember Marge shot. Yeah, she was an extreme. That lady was an extreme racist. Dan Donald Sterling. So, like I said, this don't surprise me for Phil Jackson to try to take the glory away from Scottie Pippen. And like I said, Scottie Pippen to me should have won. I think Hakeem won it that year, but I thought Scottie Pippen should have got some serious MVP. Who won the Who won the MVP that year? The 1994. Uh, who won the MVP that year? Was it Hakeem? Because I thought Scottie Pippen should have won. But okay, yeah. All right, too raw here. Yeah, good. Yeah, hey, man, I'm gonna tell you too raw on some real. I really believe everything Scottie Pippen said about Phil Jackson. I believe him 100% because you just saw all that last. One thing about me, I paid attention to some of the stuff that was said in the last dance that Scottie Pippen was trying to say. And I do feel like they made him a scapegoat. And like I said, I would be pissed off too if I saw that documentary and how they portrayed me. They made me look like I was a whiner and a crybaby, which they have a reputation of trying to do that to black men anyway. Like I said, even on my job, they want other people. If we have issues with the job, they want other people from the union to talk to them to management. Or when we complaining, to disregard me, but I'm very vocal. Remember, when a person that isn't black have an issue with the job, it's a complaint, it's a concern. But when we talk about some issues we have on the job, we're crying. you know that's just real talk. Appreciate that, man. Hey, too raw. I always saw that in Phil Jackson. But you know, too raw. We can't come out of nowhere and just say, you know what, I think, Phil Jackson is a suspect white supremacist. I just can't come out of nowhere. I just can't come out of nowhere. But I always had that vibe about Phil Jackson, just like I always had that vibe about Bill Maher. And I turned out to be right. Bill Maher starting to show exactly who he is and who he always have been. Like I said, y'all brothers got to stop being moved by some white dude saying, "Hey man, I smoke weed with black people." So what do that mean? Yeah, Scottie Pippen was criminally underpaid. He was technically it was really like New Jack City. It was really like New Jack City. Remember with G Money and Nino? You built this by yourself. We did this. You didn't do this. I'm just keeping it a buck, y'all. I'm just keeping it a buck. I always suspected that about Phil Jackson. Like I said, he live in Montana. Oh yeah, y'all subscribe to my boy Too Raw, man. Please. I've been this is one of the first channels I subscribed to when I permanently got on YouTube, but I was watching him before I even came on YouTube on a regular basis. He a OG. So, so he legit. So subscribe to Too Raw for TV if you ain't subscribed to his channel. Look, man, don't be fooled by the liberal stuff, man. Like I said, liberals, let me explain to you what liberals are. They just they like to call they self-respectable racists. They figure using certain dialect referring to black people is beneath them. They feel like they don't have to use the N word and all or any derogatory remarks towards black people, but at the same time they have the same sentiments as J. Edgar Hoover and people like that. You know, other well-known white supremacists. That's all liberals are. They call they self-respectable racists. But I still think some of them use the N word. But that's how they try to portray themselves. Just like I've been trying to tell y'all, there ain't no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. Because like I said, look what Joe Biden is doing. Joe Biden is damn near about to allow the stop and frisk in New York. Like I said, same thing with Kamala Harris. But y'all won't listen. Look, I'm gonna tell you something about PJ Carlissimo. I believe know about guys like that. He was another condescending like type of coach. Like I say, people just don't snap the way Latrell's free will snap without you saying something to set them off. What's up? Appreciate that. So, like I said before, I'm glad Scottie Pippen is speaking out. Just like I didn't have a problem with what Kwame Brown was doing because Kwame Brown kept his composure for 20 years before he said something. And now all of a sudden, now this is what they're going to try to portray Scottie Pippen as. And y'all watch for this. They're going to try to portray Scottie Pippen as the angry black man. They're going to try to dismiss. And Stephen A. Smith, well, he probably going to be one of the first people if he hadn't already dismissed was, well, I don't think Phil Jackson's a racist. I think Scottie Pippen, they always try to psychoanalyze you. I think Scottie is going through some pain and watch. They always do that. They always do that. When a black man drop a bomb and he expose white supremacy, they try to dismiss him and they try to be condescending, or they gonna say Scottie Pippen going through some stuff, he going through a divorce and all that kind of stuff. They're gonna try to make him look like they're gonna try to Dave Chappelle him. But I believe every damn word what he's saying about filthy Phil Jackson. It's hot garbage. And it's been that way for a long time. Stephen A. Smith did a 360-degree backflip. Well, that's what I'm saying. People love to try to play this. Oh, well, I've coached people of all kinds. That don't mean you like them. Thomas Jefferson used to violate his female slaves on a regular basis, impregnated them and everything. That don't mean he liked black people. I wish people would stop. I wish people would stop with that because that is the easiest thing to debunk now. The old "I have black friends" and all that. Man, just stop it. You ain't got no black friends. You just got a black token figurehead to try to disguise the fact that you really what you are, which is a white supremacist. So, like I said, I've always thought this about Phil Jackson. He gave me those vibes. And when he pulled that stuff with Kobe Bryant, where he posted, went off on Kobe Bryant. See, that's the thing. Kobe Bryant wanted to win just like Phil Jackson wanted to win. But if a black person is passionate about winning, and and he may have a disagreement with the coach, then all of a sudden, he's a word that used to piss me off that they would refer to black players saying that they was a cancer. And I thought that was one of the most demeaning statements they can make towards a black athlete because they only would use that terminology cancer to refer to a black person and to say that a black person is behavior is like a disease that basically breaks your body down and eternally disintegrates you. I mean, stop it. We know some of those catchphrases were made strictly towards us. They never would call no white player a cancer. They would say, "Oh, well, he's having issues with the team," but they would put labels on black player. I hated that terminology, and I refuse to use that terminology to refer to somebody saying, "Yeah, he's a cancer in the club." I mean, come on, man. You saying a person is a disease? I hated those terminologies. Like I said, I would refuse to use those terminologies to refer to athletes. There's always certain innuendos they direct towards black players. They would be saying, you know, they would always be pocket watching. And people outside of sports who didn't have no ties to sports, people who were just observers, they would say that certain athletes were overpaid. They would always say, "Oh, well, the type of money that you making, you need to ignore certain things." Nah, nah. So basically saying, due to the fact that you making a lot of money, that means you should ignore racism, white supremacy, and police brutality towards black people. So that's basically saying that they wanted you to sell out. See, we have to break those simple terminologies down, and that's basically what I'm doing. And like I said, I always felt that Scottie Pippen was for some reason the odd man out. I mean, yes, he was the first ballot Hall of Famer. He was top 50 greatest player, but for some reason, you saw something in Scottie Pippen, and like I said, I remember that playoff series. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. See. Now the history is lining up. Oh yeah, thanks Tia for reminding me of that about yeah, him making that comment about LeBron and his entourage and stuff. Which, by the way, LeBron's entourage is educated and professional black men. So yeah, Phil Jackson now, like I say, the resume is starting to build up. The proof and the evidence that Phil Jackson is a racist white supremacist is starting to show. I forgot about that. Somebody send me the link in one of my uh I'm gonna put that story up that's gonna support what I've been saying about filthy Phil Jackson. Well, it don't matter if you well Tom Brady's arrogant. See, that's the thing. Why is it that they want us to act like emotional sheepdogs? Ain't nothing wrong with showing a little emotion, but like I say, when Tom Brady throw a touchdown and he jumping up and down and he throwing his hands up in the air like Dominic Toretto, then it's all good. But if a black person, oh, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. Hey, act like you've been there before. I told you these are terminologies they use only towards black people, black men in particularly. See, they just get mad when we call them out. Now I know Scottie Pippen is gonna receive a lot of backlash. We already know that Charles Barkley is gonna defend Phil Jackson. We know Shaquille O'Neal is gonna defend Phil Jackson. But hopefully there's gonna be enough people that's gonna come out and and get on code to say, you know what, I think Scottie Pippen owned to something. That is so correct that Phil Jackson said something that was suspect. But the media quickly dismissed it. But now it's time to bring that up. So somebody put in the comment section, well, they always refer to us as that. Like I say, they have this mentality with us. They still have the slave master mentality to speak when spoken to, be quiet when I tell you to be quiet, don't question me. Do you know what I'm saying? Do as I say, not as I do. That's the mentality they have towards black men. Shout out to Scottie Pippen, man. Shout out for shout out to Scottie Pippen. And I stand and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna stand with. Yeah, we know Charles Barkley gonna do it. I definitely stand with Scottie Pippen. I'm definitely gonna stand with Scottie Pippen because you know what? I agree with him. Because I always suspected something about filthy Phil Jackson. He had that mentality. He always struck me as a guy that had that type of mentality. Worried about the people that's gonna come on here and say, "Oh, I don't think Phil Jackson is racist," because I'm white and I say so. Okay, and you gonna say so your ass right off this stream, and you gonna say so your ass right to the block party. Well, Percy, what's uppity? Cause somebody, okay, so what's uppity? I mean, what's the true definition of uppity? Is it uppity because you go to the places that they go to because they don't want us to have the same resources that they have? If it's uppity, it's because they made it uppity. If you go to a facility in a areas that happen to be better than the ones in our area, it's because they fixed it. They made it that way. Because at the end of the day, they don't want it to be a even playing field. Like I could tell you right now, everybody knows I go to 24-hour fitness. And I could tell you now, the 24-hour fitnesses that's like in the suburban areas look a lot nicer than the ones that's like quote unquote in the urban city. But you damn right. If I got my membership with 24-hour fitness say I can go to any damn one I want to. So if I go to the one, let's just say I decide to go to the one in Pleasanton versus the one in Oakland or you know what I'm saying, or Antioch or Concord, which by the way the Concord 24-hour facility got state of the art equipment and the Antioch one uh got mediocre equipment. The one on High Street in Oakland got mediocre equipment. But that's the thing though. Like I keep telling you, you go to the Targets in the suburban areas, they're always completely stocked, always cleaned. You go to the Walmarts like in San Leandro or San Leandro, floor look all nasty, hardly stocked. You got to ask them, do they got certain stuff? So, I know what time it is. Yeah, it's about them thinking that we don't belong there. Look, G Brown, I think a lot of us suspected that we just wanted somebody to bring it out. We just wanted somebody to say it. Now, like I said, I expect Scottie Pippen, he's going to get major backlash. We all know, we all know that you can count on Charles Barkley. Scottie Pippen, I think you wrong, man. I think for you to try to say this about somebody, because you having some issues and it's wrong. See, we got to get past this. Shut up. Shut up. Shut your ass up. Shaquille O'Neal. I think Scottie Pippen is wrong. Uh, I won 3 championships with him. I never heard him say or refer. Okay, so like Phil Jackson, I'm telling you, that's the type of rhetoric they gon' display, or they gonna say, something like that. Of course, you ain't never heard Phil Jackson say nothing racist. Like Phil Jackson gonna walk up to you and call you the N word. Come on, man. I mean, the dude is smarter than that. I mean, he's smarter than that. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. I mean, come on now. Now, I mean, come on now. I'm just expecting somebody. We already know people gonna defend Filthy Phil Jackson. I know they are. I know they are. I'm waiting for it. But like I said, I believe everything Scottie Pippen say. I've been suspected that about Phil Jackson. Yeah, he made some remark, talked about LeBron and his posse. Who uses the word posse? Man, posse, what is that? Y'all, posse is like 1980s. That, I mean, for real, man. We know who used the word. This is what, man. Nobody, that word posse, like, nobody uses the word posse. Like what? I mean, that's like. I mean, he didn't even have the decency to refer to them as an entourage. He didn't even have the decency to refer to them as he called them a posse. But like I said, I believe it about Phil Jackson. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it 100%. Because the way they portray Scottie Pippen in the Last Dance, I don't blame him for being mad. And we talked about how Scottie Pippen was portrayed in the last dance. And like I said before, my only gripe with Scottie Pippen was he should have asked to see the final cut. Now, if it comes out that he said, "Hey, before I signed the consent form, they showed me a different," because they known for doing that. They'll sit up there and show you this version, and then they'll say, okay, well, this is this is the version we gonna put out. Then they'll add something. They may add scene, or they may take out a scene, so you never know. But me myself, I'm rolling with Scottie Pippen. I'm rolling with Scottie Pippen 100%. I believe everything he say about Phil Jackson, because I remember that. I remember that game. I remember that game. And Scottie Pippen is absolutely correct. He should have had the right to take that shot. So that's all I got to say, man. But anyway, thanks for listening. I'll be back with more later. I'm out.